What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Club and Country. This is episode number 94 and we're starting season with the final group game of the Champions League. As you can see, after Roma's surprise slip up to Rosenborg, heading into the final game of the group, we've now leapfrogged the Italians, gone top of the group for the first time ever, and it means avoid defeat in the Stadio Olimpico, and we will guarantee qualification top spot. We'd already guaranteed qualification, but we can top it with a point away in Rome. So heading into the game, you saw my lineup. There were a couple of changes, but for the most part, a really strong team. Ordinarily, like when I've qualified, even if top spot is still on the line, I'll throw out a weakened side, maybe a couple of stars, but for the most part, a much changed lineup. But this season, I feel as though topping the group could be vital. So heading into the game, again, all we needed was the point, but I never really sit back in this year's FIFA because to me, I think it's kind of pointless and you're just inviting pressure which you'll probably fail to withstand. Because of the way this game is played, I really do feel as though sitting back, like coming on the counter is a really effective play style when coming forward and attacking and utilising the pace and trying to get in behind the back line. That is, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the best ways to go in this year's FIFA, because as we know, for many years now, pace is still the most effective play style in terms of attacking with high tempo play. But defensively, like I just feel as though like if you're sitting back and inviting pressure, it's going to come and bite you in the backside. You've got to start off on the front for even in games where you don't need to win. So this game was no exception. Gavin, Humphreys scored our first of the game. What a goal as well for his third of the group already. And then on the hour mark here, looking to make it 2-0 after Esposito was denied by Price. Once again, it's Gavin rolled forward, and once again he beats the German Bernd Leno for the second time in the game. Gavin Humphreys this season has been phenomenal. Once again, it's Matondo and Gavin linking up for the goals like the first one. We're 2-0 up in Rome, and at this point I knew we were going to top the group. Roma need to score 3 goals and come from behind to win it. And whilst he did score 4 at Rodney Parade in the 4-2 defeat, so far only defeated the group, I didn't feel like we were in any danger of losing this game. And oh my goodness gracious me, after he bagged his brace, he gets the hat-trick in style. Did you see the skill move to leave the man on the halfway line in the dust, run through one-on-one? And I talk about how, like, you know, trying to put the goalkeeper off in FIFA is impossible unless you actually physically go round him. But I still like to do it because it just looks so cool if it results in a goal, which it did there. Match ball for Gavin, first ever hat-trick in the Champions League, 3-0 in Rome. Didn't need to win, only needed a point. Instead, we got all 3 to not only get qualification secured, but also top the group as well. So there we go, we are through as group winners, and it's such a surprise because I didn't think that would happen after our first 2 games when we had the defeat to Roma in Rodney Parade. Even though we won match day 1 away in Munich, I didn't think we'd top this group. Roma looked as though they were the strongest side in the group halfway through, but yeah, very good second half of the campaign, winning all 3 of our games and topping the group by 4 points in the end clear of Roma. That's us through to the knockout stage, and the reward, of course, means we'll have a side that finished runner-up and not topping the group. Because of the Champions League and the calibre of teams in this competition, it's not that much of a reward, but it still could prove to be crucial when the draw is made in the next episode. Still following that, as you can see, we saw that the Player of the Year was announced, and for the first time in the save, it is a Newport County player, and is it any surprise who it is? No, it's not Gavin Humphreys, it's Ravi Matondo, and I've mentioned this a few times now. Matondo, 27 years old, 91 overall. He's got a balanced development plan, but he's still improving and increasing his attributes very quickly indeed. I've mentioned before, like, Humphreys is the star of his team. He's now up to 95 overall, just bagged a hat-trick in Rome, and yet despite that, Matondo is still the guy that mainly gets, well, for starters, our goals, of course, back-to-back Golden Boot winner, but also most assists as well. And that's why for the second game of today's episode, I wasn't surprised to see this. 4.5 minutes in, we had the lead, and after Rabi rolled through Gavin twice for his first 2 goals in Rome, Gavin repays the favour in this one at a snowy Rodney Parade in South Wales for Matondo's 16th goal in 16 games this season. I have mentioned it in almost every episode this season, I'll say it once again. 40-goal season. Ivan Toney, Samuel Bell, only 2 players I've ever done it. This, I just feel it, guys. Like, I'm just being honest, I just feel it this season. He's got a perfect 1-in-1 right now. I really do feel if it doesn't happen this season, it will never happen. This is surely the year I get Rabi to the magic 40. Can you imagine if I get him over 40? The first time ever. Most goals ever in a single season. Maybe I'm getting too far ahead of myself here. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Even though 1-1 up against Spurs, Harry Kane would level it for them. 7th goal in 16 for Kane as he makes it 1-1. Still at Spurs in the save. He rarely moves on, to be fair, in career mode this year. By the way, how good was he on Saturday night against Manchester City? Never mind the game winner. Just a fantastic performance all round from Harry Kane. I know he had a really sluggish start to the season. Many people wondering if the speculation in the summer had affected him mentally and he wouldn't be the same striker. I thought that was his best performance of the season on Saturday night. I thought he was brilliant in that game. Basically unplayable. And one of those games where you're reminded of just how world-class this guy can be at times. But still, he found a leveller. Matondo then responded instantly for his second of the game directly afterwards. Puts us back in front with goal number 17 this season. Like I mentioned, it's this season or never, basically. This season or bust for Matondo. We're up by a goal once again. We lead Spurs. And to be honest, whilst Kane did get the goal, for Tottenham in this game, I was really on fire. I never like playing in the snow. It's my least favourite condition, like most people's, to be fair. This was another game where I wasn't really feeling optimistic coming into it because of the weather conditions. I know that sounds quite a bit of a cop-out there, but it is true. Playing in the snow is quite hard, especially visually as well. It's so bright, but in this game, I was really on it. We got our third goal late on. No surprise who it was. Gavin Humphreys with the goal to make it 3-1. Gives a 2-goal cushion. It's Tony Matthews getting a rare start. Got the assist for the goal there. Academy grads linking up for our third against Spurs. And then late on in the game, it was the other wing back in this team that got an assist for Gavin's brace to go along with the assist he got in the first 5 minutes. Rashasha storming down the right hand side, rolling it across, and there is the skipper with our fourth with 11 minutes to go. His second and 5 in 2. You know, I'm just going to be honest right here, man. Gavin Humphreys, he's now 95 overall. You'll see his full range of stats come the end of the game. I mean, you know, I get asked a lot, right? Like, who's the best player I've ever had in any of my career mode saves ever? Who's, like, the best hero? Who's the best legend of all time? And who's the greatest youth player I've ever had? You know, I've got to be honest. If he's not the best, he's certainly top 5. That man in focus with another man in a match display. A brace and an assist as Brennan Johnson wrapped the points up late on in a big, demolishing 5-1 victory over what were the early pace setter Spurs. Gavin Humphreys, 95 overall. He's now the highest rated player in the game. The best player in the world, and he's 20 years old. 18 goals and 12 assists in 24, 12 goals in the Premier League and 5 in 6 in the Champions League after the hat-trick in Italy. As you can see, up 2 ratings now to 95 overall, and the likelihood is he'll get to 96 overall before the season is over. I'm changing the development plan from attacking midfield to shadow striker. That'll only take him 34 weeks to grow yet another rating and get the long shots into the 90 and up the finishing as well, because Gavin, you know, he scores as many as he assists, but you know, this guy, I've talked about it before, his long range ability is one of the best I've ever had, so getting the long shots and the finishing up even further is really important. But I did find this funny. I was doing a contract negotiation, and I mentioned before, this series isn't about realism, this is a really streamlined save of mine, but Gavin's on $2,500 a week as the best player in the world at 20 years old, and when I was doing the contract negotiation, I thought, I think he deserves a big pay increase and an extension as well. How much did the agent ask for? I think it was $8,500, something like that. $8,500 for Gavin Humphreys a week. Yeah, that's not exactly the most realistic agent negotiation there. Gavin, fire your agent, bro. He's not doing you any wonders there. But I gave him $100,000 a week contract. Contract negotiations in FIFA career mode, they're just really bizarre. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think they have to be hyper realistic because, as I mentioned before, this game at times needs to be streamlined for the diversity of the player base of FIFA career mode, and you know what I'm talking about there. But it's really important to make sure for the younger players and the people that don't take the game as seriously, you know, just want to have fun. It doesn't need to be that realistic. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to have hyper you know, intense contract negotiations that need to be completely realistic. I do get it, but sometimes it's really bizarre. You got a 95 rated player at 20 years old. He's asking for $8,500 a week. Are you serious? Like, it's a bit weird. And like I said before, FIFA Career Mode, I think a lot of people put too much emphasis on the realistic aspect of it. I do think that realism helps the immersion of the save and can, at times, make saves more enjoyable and project the longevity of them as well. It's not mandatory though. Like, realism in career mode, I often talk about it. Like, you buy the game, you play the game however you want to play it, man. Seriously, like, it's your game, you play it however you want. Don't let anyone tell you how to play the game. It's yours. You play it however you like to get the most enjoyment out of it. But sometimes, like, the transfer negotiations and the transfer market and the AI transfer sales and signings are just really, really bizarre. And it's the same with contract negotiations as well. It's something I hope EA do look into as the years go by, because it just does seem a bit bizarre how far-fetched they are at times. Even so, final game of today's episode, West London, Chelsea, Stamford Bridge. What a shocker. Early on into the game, we are up by 2. And who got the goals? Best player in the world right now, and without a shadow of a doubt, if not my greatest youth player ever, then one of the greatest. Scored our first 2, and then right before the hour mark, set up our third. Rolls through Tyler Roberts off the bench. The understudy for Gavin, if you will, despite being several years older. You know he won't get much game time. Most of his game time will come off the bench. That's his second of the season there as Gavin rolls him through. Once again, another masterclass from our number 10 in a 3-0 scoreline in West London. Gavin Humphreys right now is just on another level, and at 95 overall, soon to become 96 this season. I mentioned it before. Can I get him to 99 overall? If I've ever had a chance to get someone there, it's Gavin. And that's why, to me, if he's not the greatest youth player ever, he's certainly up there. Brilliant performances. Sees us go 3 points clear of Man City with a far better goals record with 2 games to go before the halfway point. 10 points clear of the Red Devils as well. It's shaping up to be a 2-horse title race for now as we approach the halfway point in the season. But that will end today's episode of Club and Country, guys. Big thank you for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. If you want to like, most love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode of Club and Country, featuring a draw for the Champions League last 16 very soon.